The all mail-in ballot election for the South Central Colfax Special Hospital District on the 30th. We did in order, we sent out over 3,000 ballots. We received back 1,063 ballots. Of those 50 of those ballots, 50 of them were rejected by the board due to the fact that they were not signed, or their information on their envelope was not completed, or they may have even put a wrong address on there. So the board did go through and the board did reject 50 ballots. And they did vote on it, and they were all in agreement that they would strike those 50 ballots. So in favor of the tax, there was 831, and against 182. So it did pass, and a total of $1,015 that were bid by machines.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to thank the voters of the hospital district for approving this. I think our health services in Colfax County are stretched as it is. The last thing they could afford is any changes or reduction in the services that are currently being financed through this ad valorem tax. And it's just another example of the generosity of our constituents. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve canvassing for all mail election for South Central Hospital District.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been seconded. Motion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Motion passes. Next question. Oh, I was trying to make a motion to the.
So moved.
Second.
The motion second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Thank you all. Resume at 9:15.
And I am having you guys sign several of these that way in case they need copies.
I'll go ahead and call the. I'll go ahead and call the regular meeting to order. I'll ask the case cell phones, computers, any other devices. You want to stand to us and pledge allegiance. Commissioner Wick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, which is the symbol of perfect friendship among the United States.
So moving on to item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Commissioners have been informed we want to strike from the agenda item number 17. Item 17 is professional services contract with Colfax County. And we follows the company. 21 is resolution 2023 resolution for the payment street for secure driving conditions for the Colfax County and sale and use of concerned fireworks and unrelated portions of that. Change the LIC. Commissioner Woodward. Commissioner.
I'm fine, thank you.
All entertaining motion to approve the agenda for those times.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved second and vote.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to item number 5, approval of public hearings, meeting minutes for May 9th, 2023, special meeting minutes for May 20, 22, 2023, the budget workshop minutes for May 22, 2023, and regular minutes for May 20. Commissioners, do you have any other corrections or modifications to the minutes? Commissioner?
No.
Commissioner Wood? No. Will there be a motion to approve the minutes as stated?
So move.
Second.
Move the second and vote.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to item number 6, recognition of visitors. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. We go ahead and have Sheriff Williams or introduce yourselves and let's go across to the.
John Hernandez, Sheriff's Office.
Dr. County Manager's Office, Sarah Torres, Chief Deputy Clerk. Need your deal, citizen.
Bill, emergency management.
Lieutenant Terry Garcia, legal health and operations.
Where did Regina State be on?
Virginia Strong, Colfax County Manager's Office. Steven Colangelo, Manager's Office.
Dale, you for?
Board. Looking for you. Thanks.
Cardinals, Farmer.
Roger Smith, Colfax,
Tim Martinez, IT. June.
Just you. Alfonso, would you mind introducing yourself?
Alfonso Ortiz, Chief Deputy Treasurer.
Mr. Brown, Colfax County Assessor.
Thank you all very much. Moving on to item for the discussion action approval of expenditures. Any questions or comments?
Skip that.
Oh, you were, sorry. Moving on to the public comment. Public comment, this is to bring up to the commission. Anything that's not on the agenda. If you have a question on it, you want to ask it down below. Just feel free to ask. Public comment. Seeing none. Discussion and action approval of expenditures. Which is get a chance to look at the expenditures in the discussion.
No questions.
Commissioner Wood?
Yeah, in the amount of time that we're provided the expenditures and with the attention that the expenditures are receiving because of issues at the county, I do not feel that I have enough time available to look into the expenditures to the extent that I should in order to vote to approve them. And so I just wanted you to know, that's why I didn't make a motion and didn't vote last time. I will not make a motion or vote for them this time either.
Or coming in to see if we could also that to the.
What if we just move these to the next meeting? Would you be good with that?
I'm sorry?
If we move these to the next meeting, would you be okay with that?
Well, I might be able to. I think part of the issue is in the reporting. I think it's very hard. We get 2 reports and we have to cross-address the items on the reports, and all we have is a GL account number to do that. And with the GL account number, it's very hard if you don't have it memorized, which I don't, because I don't deal with it frequently enough. To me, and especially with the expenditures, because we get 2 reports, and I know we can ask for details, supporting documents for those reports. But when you get the information on Thursday and you have a meeting Tuesday morning, that's just not sufficient for me to be able to vote to approve something that I don't feel like I fully understand.
I don't remember the issue with us postponing. Postponing it to the next meeting? No. Okay. Then, Madam Clerk, we need to make a motion. Yes. I'll entertain a motion to postpone the expenditures, to the next meeting.
So move.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes. Well, then, for item number 9, to go ahead and postpone, the discussion action for approval of expenditures pursuant to resolution number 22-2022-49. Motion.
So move.
Second?
It's been motion second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. So moving on to item number 10, discussion and actions, state of New Mexico DFA local government division, DWI, movement program, number 24-E-05. This is true.
Morning. I believe we're just here for approval of signature. DFA, they approved the grant. All of you?
Commissioners, is there questions or comments?
No question.
Commissioner? Nope. All right, seeing no questions or comments, I don't have anything either. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second?
Second, Commissioner Kern?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to item number 11, discuss action items, lease agreement with Colfax County and school system for development.
We're just asking to renew our lease for the next year or their renewals property.
Commissioners, I interface is going to be in 10 if you want to pull this up as well. There's just one item that I thought would be beneficial to add to this contract, and this is going to be the same for item agendas 11, 13, 14, 15, and 17. I ran this word in front of the county term June. Yesterday, he was the one that came up with the wording, but what it is we're being listed as additional insured in the general liability, but there's no waiver of subrogation, and pretty much the waiver of subrogation is the insurance company gave the right to, their insurance company gave the right to come back for us, so they're just accepted as a loss of the insurance company, it's not trying to sue or reimburse. So you got to say, to do that, we're going to amend the contract for Owen with the added waivers of subrogation.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question in general, not necessarily related to your wording. I'm fine with that wording. But when we sign these agreements with the leases, what process do we go through to verify that they're in fact compliant? Because we can have an agreement like this, if they don't have the proper insurance, then it can be a real legal battle to try and, be made, for an issue to be made right. So if they don't have the 2 million insurance, and then something happens and the county ends up getting sued over it, we could rely on their insurance to cover us for that 2 million. But if they don't have the insurance, now we got to go through a recovery, a legal battle to recover those funds and so on. So we signed these contracts, and we're getting ready to sign several that are extremely similar. And my question is, do we have a process in place where we verify that these leases are in compliance with the contracts to try and avoid or minimize legal battles in the case that something does happen?
I could attest to some more information on the insurance. So usually what we would do is the county would want to request a certificate of insurance. This is going to be the general liability workers on anything that they're requesting as far as insurance goes. They're going to show additional insured waiver association to be checked. And the waiver association will help with the county having to go through an uneven process. That's why I wanted to go that part. But with that, the insurance agent, whoever is there, if it's being notified, if it cancels, the insurance agent is supposed to notify the certificate holders that the policy is no longer valid. So there is probably within the county, you should have a system in place where as we receive these, even a spreadsheet would be sufficient to upkeep the expiration dates for these contracts as they're being that information.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just mention, totally agree with what you just said. And one of the things that the manager's office is doing right now is actually not just signing off on all these agreements from the past, but we've actually did some analyzing because a lot of times on these agreements, and even on the rents and things like that we charge, there's wide disparity depending on the organization. And so in order to make it more fair, we're kind of looking at revising all those contracts. David and I have been working with Jim as well. And once again, to provide insurance and ensure that there is insurance when we sign these agreements. And then the other thing we typically do is before we bring this to the commission for signing, we typically have the attorney look over everything.
Also to add, I don't know if this helps, but there's a company named Accord that they send over copies of their insurance to us. I don't know if that's in every single person or just record them, but I've seen those in
I mean, if you don't have it, or and maybe Commissioner Kern can allude to how we've done this in the past, but and if we're doing this correct, then I'm satisfied. But those certificates that you're talking about, do we have a process in which those are collected and monitored to make sure that they're still viable?
I honestly don't know if there's a process, but since I started virtual contact very recently, when they come in the mail, I just put them in the file that they belong
we do collect the certificates. Yes.
And then just on the accords, it's a standard kind of form that's made, so different accords for different lines and charts. So and that's I don't remember the exact accord number, but yeah, that's what they provide us a COI. Commissioner Kern,
I have no question.
are you okay with the wording of the?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Virginia. So I'll entertain a motion to amend the lease agreement, adding the waiver of subrogation terminology given by County Attorney Jim for the lease agreement between Colfax County and the Citizens for the Development of this table. Also, I apologize, I do have to state to the commission, part of the between the Citizens for the Development of Disabled is also part of the children's workshop. And I just wanted to be known that there might be a conflict of interest. My son has received services from the children's workshop for motor ability and stuff like that. So I just want to make that public. Ready to go ahead. We ask for that motion.
I move to approve the lease agreement between Colfax County and the Citizens for the Developmentally Disabled with the discussed contract changes.
I'll second that motion.
Move in second, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Rea?
Yes.
Chairman Manager?
Yes. Item 12, discussion action, professional services contract agreement between Colfax County and the 8th Judicial District Attorney's Office.
And I'm doing the same thing on this one.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Wood?
Yeah, I guess I would just like clarification because this agreement is is an agreement between the parties for a scope of work. And I guess I'm just not clear exactly because it just says that the scope of work is a copy of the CLS is attached here too and make part of the reference. So it calls the county has a contract for legal services, but I didn't see that. So I guess I'm curious, since this is between the Judicial District Attorney's Office, the 8th Judicial District, and the county, so is this us doing work for the 8th Judicial District? And if so, what does that work consist of, since I didn't see?
Mr. Chairman?
I think that would be
Commissioner Kern?
By state statute, the district attorney's office is supposed to provide legal counsel for commissions. It doesn't always happen. And when I was manager, we worked with the district attorney's office to provide us with funding to aid in our legal defense, since they basically don't have the staffing to do what we need them to do. And I don't know that we want a prosecutor doing our kind of contractual business anyway. So this is a renewal of that financial support to pay for our services that they are unable to provide, although committed by statute.
I was gonna, I agree with everything Vice Chair Kern said and is going to mention that as well. The other thing I would encourage the commission to do is we do have a very qualified attorney.
Thank you. So yes, it is my understanding on this contract that the district attorney here, since we provide them office space, they are to provide us with legal counsel, and that they do not do so, they are paying a portion of
Okay.
county attorney's bills, essentially.
And so they're reimbursing us for the bills. Do we know how much they reimbursed us?
If I, yes, yes, sir. I think, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I believe that under current contract, the district attorney's office will reimburse up to like $4,750 per month to be applied to the county's general funds. So therefore, it can apply to the legal fees incurred by the county, especially with with me and then other the lawyers that the county hired for the purpose of the general litigation matter or any other county business matters to be applied.
So basically, we collect $47.50 a month from the 8th district, judicial district.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Commissioners, any more questions or comments? Commissioner Kern? Commissioner Wood? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
So moved and second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to item number 13, discussion action between the lease agreement between Colfax County and the Board of Education of the Moore Independent School District.
Again, this is an annual lease agreement that we're agreeing. The only thing that's changing on this lease is they were only paying $1 a year for rent, so we are now going to charge them monthly.
Thank you. I have a quick question. Why is it Moore Independent School District and not another local school district?
Because Moore is the closest independent school district that's qualified for a Head Start program, and the Moore Independent School District has agreed to provide those services to school districts in Colfax County, because Colfax County's never qualified for a Head Start program on its own. Or maybe it has, but it hasn't in the past 15 years anyhow that I've been around.
Thank you, Commissioner Wood. Also on this agreement, I'd like to have the business segregation given to you earlier and provided by County Attorney Jim. Commissioner Kern, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Commissioner Wood?
One question, how was the 2250 lease payment derived, like per square foot or just swag?
Like, how do they pay by check?
No, how was that value determined to charge them that versus $1? Because the building was built on the grant that they came up with, and I think that's probably why it was, the county was just fiscal agent.
I'm not sure who chose that.
Jim, can you address how you came up with that figure?
Yes, ma'am. I think based upon what I discussed with the fair market value of the rent with the county manager, and then I think county manager did some brief survey of around the adjacent property, and then we believe that the amount can be a fairly accurate about the fair market value of the property. However, as you can see, ma'am, Exhibit 1 on that lease, they need to provide that their in-kind service to match with that fund, and also Colfax County will monitor whether or not that fair market value will be fitting or should be modified. So I think Colfax County has a total discretion to decide based upon the consumer index or nearby the fair market value of the rental property issues on that part too. So I think the reason we put that number, ma'am, is that making sure that we try to avoid an anti-donation matter, and that we just put the dollar amount I think surveyed by the county manager's office.
I'll make the motion to approve the lease agreement between Colfax County and Board of Education of the Moore Independent School District with the adjustments of adding the wording county attorney referencing waivers and celebrations. Wait a second.
I'll second.
The move in second, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item number 14, discussion action, lease and professional service agreement between Colfax County and the Team Village Behavioral Health. Ms. Virginia?
Again, this is an annual lease that we're asking to renew. The only thing that's changing on this is again, the price used to be $500 a month and we are coming to 20.
Commissioners, I still would like to add waivers of celebrations into this as well. Is there any questions or comments, Commissioner Turner?
No comments.
Commissioner Ware?
No real comments, but other than on paragraph 5, it says this agreement shall not become effective until approved by Colfax County Commission. This agreement is for a 1-year term and shall terminate on June 30th, 2023. In 2024.
Thank you, sorry.
I'll go ahead and make the motion on the lease and professional service agreement between Colfax County and the Team Village Behavioral Health, adding the wording of given by County Attorney June references and waivers of segregation. Second. Oh, and changing the date from June 2023 to June 2024. That's second.
I'll second.
So moved in second and a hold.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Moving on to discussion item number 16, discussion action professional service agreement between Colfax County and MRS Monitoring and Recovery Services.
Sorry, just the number C.
Jeez, I'm so sorry. Number 15, discussion action lease agreement between Colfax County and the Youth Park.
Again, this is an annual lease, and nothing has changed on this one.
Item number 15, I would like to add waivers of segregation in this as well, as provided by County Attorney. So much. Right? Sure. Where did you have questions?
Again, not, well, just a correction, and it's the first paragraph says this agreement of lease is executed the 6th day of June 2020 or 2/23. You're missing this here.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the lease. Oh, it's already been made. Well, do we need to amend the motion?
I amend my motion to correct that.
It's been so moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved to second by clerk.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Item number 16, discussion action professional service agreement between Colfax County and MRS Monitoring and Recovery Services.
This is the contract in my staff to review.
Commissioners, Commissioner Kerr, did you have any questions or comments?
I have no question.
Commissioner Ware?
Yeah, I would just appreciate a brief, I mean, I think I get it, but a brief explanation of the services that are being provided, just to make sure I'm clear and to make sure the community knows what these services are. Is there somebody that can do that? Or do you?
So, Chairman, Commissioners, and members. They provide the ankle monitor system for detainees that the court states they have to have on before they leave the facility.
So it's just the ankle monitor.
Correct.
And
Ankle
then
monitor,
if somebody's in
GPS.
violation of the rules of an ankle monitor, they notify the sheriff's office, is that correct?
She kind of does both. She keeps track of them. They keep track of them 24/7. And then I don't know if
generals directly to the sheriff's office, or if they notify the court puts on benchmark and they go back to jail.
That's it.
If they file. But it works for us because it's cheaper with GPS than it is to keep them actually in the facility.
It's very much of a cost savings.
Thank you, Ward.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve item number 16.
Second.
Commissioner Clement? Yes. Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Item number 7 is constructed on the agenda. Number 18, discussion action for agreement. Sorry, hold on a second. Discussion action agreement for inmate confinement between Colfax County and this government.
Again, this is just an kind of agreement that we took on for housing.
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Kramer? Commissioner Ware?
I'm sorry, I'm shaking my head fast.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk?
Commissioner Clement?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Item number 19, discuss action award RFP 2023-23 two new wheel loaders for the department.
I'm coming to get permission from a recommendation on the bid. We had two bids. The one that was lower, however, did not meet our specifications. So I'm recommending accepting the lowest bidder versus the other bidder.
Commissioner Kramer?
No questions.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I saw the letter, or it was included in the letter you sent out, telling them. Did they respond to that anyway?
I haven't mailed the letter because I was waiting for approval from you guys, but I have actually already spoken to that gentleman. And I mean, he wasn't exactly happy because he said that he's been approved by other counties for what he is offering. I explained to him that that we had a minimum specification list, and because some of the things he was offering were not on that minimum specification list, we couldn't approve his bid, even though it was the lowest one. Our department supervisor is the one that made the list, so he knows what he wants and what he needs for his crew. So I just explained to him that we'd be more than happy to fix for him in the future. Unfortunately, this didn't work out because it didn't meet specific.
Commissioner Ware? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Clement?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to item 20, discussion action award RFP 2023-04 110 delivery.
Again, this one I'm asking for approval on the bid recommendation as well. The same thing happened with this one. The lowest bidder did not meet our specification list. So it was the same gentleman for both. So I talked to him about that one as well. And like I said, wasn't after that he didn't need it, but he understood.
Commissioner Kramer?
No questions.
Commissioner Ware?
No question.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Clement?
Yes. Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Yes.
Before I step down on all of my lease agreements that I'm gonna add the clause to, and then I'm gonna take a couple of corrections when I get those. Do I bring those back to the next commission for signature, or how does that work?
Item number 1 is described on the agenda. Item number 2, discussion and action resolution 2023-17, authorizing 75% para municipal general plan 2 member contributions effective January 2023.
Madam Clerk, County Manager, this resolution is just for the authorization of 75% for the para municipal plan 2. So this would increase the employer portion by 8.7375%. In addition to the 10.8, and then the employee portion would go to 2.9125. I'll stand for any questions.
I know we approved this in the preliminary. If, and I don't anticipate that this would happen, but if we did not approve it in the final, what would be the ramifications of having approved this? Because I know we have to get it approved before going in.
Right, so as far as my understanding is that this just has to be approved by commission and submitted to para before July 1st.
Before that,
July 1st. Because this would take effect July 1st and para has to approve it. So I'm assuming that if there was some sort of issue where there was a change between the preliminary budget and the final budget, we would probably be able to accept the resolution.
Mr. Chairman,
The final budget will be approved at the next meeting, is that correct?
So I wanted to have a workshop prior to that, so we could go over what Commissioner Weir's requests were, and then we can go ahead and do a final. I think we have until July the 1st for a final approval. So it would be at the last meeting in June.
it's the 27th.
the 27th is the last meeting. All right.
I will not be able to.
I think
That's fine. I got you.
I think that we have up until I want to say until July 15th or the last day of July to submit for final for budget, because we have to include the totals, the carryover totals from June to July. So I know it's after July that we have
Is
to.
the final budget due on July 30th?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. It's either July 15th or July 30th. I'm not sure about the schedules. But we usually have until after July to actually approve your final budget.
But these resolutions are due by July 1.
Yes, they have to be approved through para before July 1st.
So, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
Commissioner.
But I'd like to recommend that we postpone these until, because it doesn't, I mean, I'd rather wait and vote on them based on the information that we're going to review at the special session you were talking about, the request that we had made to see what the numbers would look like, you know, with a raise versus with these numbers. I think we're putting the cart before the horse if we vote for this approval before we see those numbers. And if we have at least one meeting scheduled before July 1st. And if we're gonna have another special meeting, it just makes sense that if we're gonna have a special meeting that's gonna review the information related to this, why wouldn't we just postpone this until that meeting to make a decision on these items?
Thank you, Commissioner Ware. Commissioner Kern, is there anything more?
I don't have any further questions. Thank you, John.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to postpone this item to the next meeting.
Sorry, Commissioner Ware. Motion dies due to no second. So with this, I'm okay with approving this and state that we could later resend this as stated later, as like this is on the docket. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve resolution 2023-17, authorizing the 75% pickup of para municipal general plan 2 member contributions effective July 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
No.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 23, discuss an action of resolution 2023-18, authorizing the 75% pickup of para-municipal plan, police plan for contributions effective January 2023.
Commissioners, this is also the resolution for the municipal police plan 4. The total employee pickup, or sorry, the total employer pickup would increase by 11.14%. And the employee portion would decrease to 3.71%.
Commissioner Kern,
I have no questions.
Commissioner Wick.
No. I still think it should be postponed. That makes sense while we're voting on this. We don't need to have all the data yet.
Thank you, Commissioner Weir. I will make a motion to approve item number 23, resolution 2023-18, authorizing the 75% pickup of the Para Municipal Police Plan 4 member contributions effective July 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern, Commissioner Ware,
No.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 24 is the discussion action resolution of 2023-19 designating election places for the statewide election conducted in 2024 to 2025 and appointing the board of registration members for the county. Madam Clerk.
Chairman Truhill, Commissioners, County Manager, this is required that we approve our polling locations as well as the Board of Registration every odd year in June. So we have not changed any of the polling locations, and the individuals that I have asked to serve on the board will be Roy Fernandez, Josephine Young, Linda Bernal, Kathy McQuarrie, Rob Harper, and Robert Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Kern.
No questions.
Commissioner Wick.
No questions.
I don't have any questions either. I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 24.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-19.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kern,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chairman Truhill.
Yes. Item number 25 is discussion action, job description of the wildland coordinator. Warren Marshall Douglas.
Chairman, Commissioners, Madam Clerk, County Manager. This job description is based off of the grant we received from the New Mexico Forestry Department. It's based off of some of their criteria that we need to follow as far as what this job position entails. Their intent is to increase capacity for wildland firefighting in Colfax County. I believe this would be a huge benefit for our little county. And, my goal is to try to get this position to actually fund itself in the future. We're available to apply for this grant again next year, and so it's for 2 years. And then after that, it would be on us to continue that position if we have the funds available. So if we can get this gentleman or lady out in the field and making some money, one of these wildfires, angel fire is a good, way to show that it works. In fact, I think they pulled in $1 million this past year. So if we can do just a fraction of that, I think we could pay for this position and possibly help with some of the slash problems we have in angel fire, just as they're doing there with the village angel fires. I think it's a great thing. This has been vetted by our attorney, so stand open for questions.
Commissioner Kern. No questions. Commissioner Ward.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Nick? So this position is going to get paid with the grant gave us, which is basically 25 grand, right?
Yes.
And it's going to be a part-time position. I mean, do you envision there being a struggle finding somebody that's going to want to take a position for 25 grand?
I think it's going to be a struggle, but the wage that they're providing us with is pretty lucrative. In fact, it's probably more than what I make. So I'm hoping we can, find somebody that's qualified and definitely increase our capacity here at the county.
Okay, so they're going to make additional funds by participating in
fighting wildland fires.
Across the country or whatever.
Yes, we can send them out on R&P fires, generate funds to.
And how will that work? Will they get paid directly by the feds or whoever is sponsoring that, or will the money come through the county for them?
Well, the way that works is we file for reimbursement through state forestry, and then that goes into our account, and then we pay the employees out of that.
So would they get paid their salary or their hourly rate?
Typically, the way we've done it in the past is we go with a wet rate, which is basically if it's a type 6 engine, it's $156 an hour. And typically they work 16-hour shifts. So out of the wage we pull in for this equipment, a third of it goes to wages, and then the other 2/3 is in the bank for improving our program. So we put back in equipment, trucks, stuff of that nature. That's pretty profitable endeavor, to say the least.
And do you envision this coordinator recruiting additional staff to participate in with these people? If so, would they be volunteers?
They'd be volunteers, and that is the exact intent of the state forestry grant, is to help improve capacity. So by having this gentleman there, he can assist all our local district chiefs do their IQS system, which is the qualifications and red cards for all our members. He could do the CAC test. We know that everybody that we're sending on the line is qualified and physically fit to do the job. It just benefits, I think, the county all the way around.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Yes, Commissioner.
Who would the
Frank.
individual report to? You?
That, according to the document we provided to Judy, it looks like he wants it to report to me. I still would like to have that discussion with the county manager. He would report to Mr. Ford or myself.
It makes sense to you, but
Yes.
Yeah, Commissioner Kern, I think would be better if things like a report.
Thank you. And Nick, I do have a question. You mentioned this individual would be going out fighting fires, possibly outside of the state of New Mexico. When they're outside of the state, will the insurance extend over? Do you happen to know, or does June happen to know if our insurance would extend over to provide coverage to the individual and our property that is outside of the jurisdiction of New Mexico?
The Chairman and Commissioners, I think right now I need to look at our current coverage at this time, whether or not this can be the cover for the extended to the extraterritorial matters at that time. And then I think sometimes, they cover some instant issue which is relating to that matter, which can cover for the extraterritorial matter too. So I mean, I'm going to work with the fire marshal and making sure that we can have a correct coverage, and I'll report back to you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner.
I know that our self-insurance program is through New Mexico counties, but when I worked at the Village of Angel Fire, that was a question when we developed their program. And the municipal league's insurance did cover our staff, whether they were in state or out of state, the same.
Okay, thank you.
And that's my understanding as well. Anytime we have a firefighter doing a duty as a firefighter, he's covered. That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So yeah, actually, depending on the fire that the resource is sent to, there's actually split costs. So typically, travel to and from the fire would be covered under the home organization. Whereas anything that happened on the fire itself, if it's a federal fire, then that's covered under the federal government.
Okay.
Through the cooperator agreement with
That makes
us
sense.
working through the state of New Mexico. So it's this multi-tiered sort of coverage.
Yeah, okay. I understand what you're talking about there. That makes sense. So, thank you.
I do have one comment, though.
Yes.
On the, in the middle section here, developing and implementing countywide standards for wildland and structured firefighter training to make firefighters aware of safety issues and improve performance. I would recommend under skill requirements, we also list basic knowledge of NFPA standards. National Fire Protection Association develops basically the gold standard for structured firefighting. And I would recommend that we include in just a line item with a skill request of someone coming in to understand structured firefighting as well as wildland firefighting.
Mr. Burns.
Got no problem with that.
Thank you. Commissioner Burns, or Commissioners, any questions or comments? comments? Commissioner Kern?
No, I like Tom's suggestion, so
Commissioner Whip? So I'll make the motion to accept the job description for the wildland coordinator with adding under the skill request, the NFRP standards.
NFPA,
NFPA standards.
I second that.
And clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Whip?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 22, discussion action of road department administration building. Mr. Glenn.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you for viewing the facility, being aware of what it is. I think pretty much the buildings talk for themselves. The viewing of it pretty much says it all.
Thank you, Brent. Commissioners, Commissioner Wood?
You know, we went out and visited the site, and there's no question this building is well beyond its useful life and as actually a potential safety hazard to our staff. And I think it needs to be at the top of our list of items to replace both those buildings. I think I like the idea of doing a joint building. I like the idea of doing it next to the Quonset hunt that we have. And it just makes sense to me. And put up a building that's going to accommodate our road crew and make sure that our staff are safe and that our equipment is protected.
Thank you, Commissioner Kern.
No, I would agree with everything Commissioner Ware said. It's obvious that we need to do something there, so to proceed with, if Glenn decided, back down his want list as far as the building is concerned. I know we need, a small conference room, 2 to 3 offices, and some storage for, heated storage for certain items that would be in a obviously safe manner. So we just need to get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Commissioner Kern. I would also like to add in there just to bring in the actual gas lines for no longer on propane, and also updating the septic system there. So at this point, seeing no further action on discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the county manager to proceed with the road department administration building plans. We'll have to get with Glenn and Knowles and Corbin to give us a word.
Yeah, we may be able to modify one of the designs that we've already paid for through the fire departments. So maybe rather than reinventing the wheel, we could possibly tweak one of those designs. So I would suggest that manager, discuss that with Mr. Miller as well.
Okay.
I will work in that endeavor with road superintendent and with Nick on some of those designs, and this is some information related to that.
Maybe able to safely with it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So, yeah, Mr. Chairman, so is the motion to proceed?
Yes, the motion is to proceed. Letting the county manager work with the road department to get a new building. Plans for the building.
Yeah, I would suggest we proceed with design and then obviously they will go out and have to approve the RFP.
So on our motion.
So moved.
So,
You made it. I'll second.
thank you.
So the motion is that we will proceed
Yes.
with design.
Answer.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chair Mitchell.
Yes. Item number 27, discussion action of road department's storage building at Eagle Nest. Mr. Stevens.
Yes, this building, it's on a small lot and residential area. It's a legal nest. It's just a 10-pole building with a dirt floor. Which does need a lot of it's just big enough to park one loader inside of it. Not just enough room to walk around it. The main thing is it's not heated at all. The main thing is at least we can plug in a block heaters for winter time. And then, of course, that lot is very small, so if we're doing gravel projects up there and we have 2 or 3 graders up there and a loader up there and a couple of belly dump trucks, it takes up the whole lot. We pretty much have to just kind of cram everything on the lot to make it fit.
Thank you, Glenn. Commissioner Ware.
Yeah. What I would like to propose is that if this is going to be a motion to proceed, that motion include directing the county manager to work with the mayor of Eagle Nest in moving that property out of the center of town, because I do personally receive a lot of complaints, especially when the trash is being stored there, because we do have a roll-off. Historically, it's been removed for the last few weeks. And I'm not sure why, but anyhow, we've had one there that's been used by the road crew whenever they clean trees and things like that off of the roads, and that they use that roll-off. The public has also always had access to that roll-off for, the something that they do. So I've talked with the mayor and with Manager Gore at one point. We talked to the mayor. The mayor's open to swapping land, to moving us off of Highway 38 over there by their solid waste transfer station and right by DOT. And what we need to do is look at swapping that land and putting a new building at the new location. I think that's gonna be the best for everybody if we're gonna do construction, construct a new building. And I think we need to move out of that residential, because this is just surrounded by houses. And, I get complaints, I don't know about one a week, but probably 4 a month about that location for one reason or another.
Mr. Chairman? I actually think that's an excellent idea to relocate county out of the city of Eagle Nest and land swap. Discuss. I think that's a really good plan. Commission, just so you know, I did receive a call Eagle Nest requesting that we remove that roll-off for specifically the reasons brought up here in this meeting today, is that the trash is blown out when it comes to conservation. So at the request of the town of Eagle Nest, we did remove the roll-off.
That came from the town,
From that site,
but the complaint came from the town itself.
yes.
Thank you, County Manager.
You're very welcome.
Commissioner Kern.
Yeah, just to add a little bit of history on that property. I believe it was 51 when the original Moreno Valley High School burned down. There were no fire departments up in that area, and the American Legion at that time started trying to develop a volunteer fire department. And Tall Neal donated that property to the volunteer fire department that they were forming at that time. But the village of Eagle Nest was not incorporated, so the county basically worked as the fiscal agent to receive that property. So we would definitely need to research how it ended up being titled, or the deed on that, maybe Madam Clerk can help us with that. But I think it's a great idea. I do think we need to get out of town, basically, and have a little bit more space to operate efficiently, so. But I do think we need to make sure how that's deeded and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to bring up, if we do move forward with getting a building up there, I'd like to even extend it to maybe have an event center up there for the Moreno Valley. More so, and if it's not an event center, that's fine, but my thought is I'd like to have more storage up there for emergency services, cots, something like that, because we know that we could get cut off from up there. The Moreno Valley can get cut off. So I want them to be able to have what they need readily available. And also I know the current evacuation point for Angel Fire, and that is Raton. They're always welcome here, but I feel that's far. If I were to be evacuated, I want to be probably as close as I can to home. And maybe if that could be designed as an evacuation center slash event center, and maybe, I don't know if there's a need for county offices up there, but that's just a thought. Okay, so no offices, but commissioners, are you okay with that too, or what's your thoughts, Commissioner Kern?
I would entertain exploring the idea.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I definitely think an evacuation facility up there would be very beneficial based on the experience of this last fire. We were highly dependent on the local quality end of board people. They worked very well with the community in doing so. But those people that took all the rooms at the quality inn were from Warwick County. And then when we went and evacuated Colfax County, there was nowhere for Colfax County people to go. So most of them chose to go to Taos over Raton because of proximity, is what I was told. They felt closer to their homes and closer to the fire being in Taos than Raton. And that's what people wanted to be. They wanted to be out of danger, but close, so that they could react if needed. I don't know what the reaction would be with the fire, but anyhow, that was the mindset of the people that I spoke to during the fire. So I do think that having a evacuation location there at Eagle Nest, where you have significant distance between the village and any significant forest, I think would be very beneficial to our county residents. So I agree with that idea. I mean, maybe to me, evacuation is primary. If we want to set up some sort of event thing and utilize that space for that, that'd be fine. But I think the real need lies in an evacuation location.
Agreed. That's I was trying to. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve item 27 for the road department storage building at Eagle Nest, with two options for the county manager to explore. One is just for the storage building, and two is for the storage building and evacuation storage area.
And Mr.
Transferring the property.
Yes, thank you, commissioners.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Truhill?
Yes. Move on to item 28, Commissioner Docket. Commissioner Kern?
Just one question for the, wondering what the status of the bid was for the airport.
I haven't, were you talking about the RFP for the airport?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was gonna actually address that in my manager's document, if you like.
Okay, and then another question, to follow up on the contract that we approved today, where June indicated that now that they're being paid $4,750 monthly. Is that payment going to the county or is that going directly to June?
Luke's going to the county.
Yes, it's still coming to the county.
That's
Sure.
expect reimbursement monthly,
Okay,
and they remit it to us.
okay, great, thank you.
Nothing else?
That's all I got right now.
Commissioner Rea.
I just wanted to give a quick update on the CWDG grant that the Cimarron Watershed Alliance received for $8 million for the unincorporated area of Colfax County. This money can be spent on any project listed in the county's CWPP. So even though the focus is on Moreno Valley, because that's where the greatest threat is currently, and also our fires tend to come out of the southwest. Any project in the county that was listed in the CWPP, which I do believe includes Vermejo and even some areas west of Raton, should be eligible. And I do recommend that if you have thinning needs for fire safety, that you contact Rick Smith and make sure. We do have some communities, unfortunately, that were not listed in the current CWPP that have needs, but that also is being worked on to be updated. And hopefully we'll have all the communities in the county listed in the next few months with the update to the CWPP. But you need to be thinking about this. Thank God for the moisture that we've received this year. We needed it sorely. And we needed a break from the fires, and we haven't had as much lightning. At least I don't know, maybe Thomas has a better assessment, but from a personal perspective, it seems like there's not as much lightning in these storms that we've had recently as we've had in past storms. There's some, but it's just the volume doesn't seem to be as great, which is also a good thing because lightning is a major source of fires. So I'm still praying that we are going to get a break this year, which would be huge, since the earliest that we'll get any of the CWDG grant money is July, which means really we won't be able to start doing work probably until August. And then of course we only have a couple of months before winter sets in, and this type of thinning work is very hard to do with snow on the ground. Not impossible, but it's not as easy, and it also with the really wet grounds, it can cause damage to the area. So I just want to make sure that everybody's thinking about their forest thinning needs, and we are applying for a second portion of this grant, and there are other grants that Watershed Alliance has submitted that are actually bigger than this grant. And there is a feeling of confidence that we will receive some additional funds beyond the $8 million we've already received through the Watershed Alliance. So I just think that this is a highly important issue for us. If we're going to save the county from ending up like Moore County, everybody needs to be aware of this. We need to keep our thoughts about thinning our property. I know we love trees. I love trees, and but if fire comes through and those trees burn down and cause your structure to burn down as well, that's could be catastrophic for the county if that happens. So again, I just wanted to give an update on what's going on. We have had 2 public meetings already through the Watershed Alliance, and we will have another one in July. There will be a public meeting where we're actually going out to the communities, trying to get the residents to come in and convince people, because the surprising thing is, even after the last fires, right now about 40% of the landowners are not wanting to be part of this program, even though it's free to them to come in and thin their property. we still, only about 60% of the people have agreed to participate, which I don't get, but, I mean, I like trees, but I guess some people like down dead trees as well. I don't know. Anyhow, just be aware of that, and we need to, keep this in the forefront. I don't want it to go like many news items that we forget about because they're not happening to us right now. We have a lot of work to do, probably 10 years worth of work to get this county where it needs to be as far as fire prevention. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner.
On my docket here, I just wanted to, I was also going to ask for the manager on his docket if he has any update on Mr. Cook's issue that he brought up last meeting about a potential growth facility in Black Lake. If you had any update on that, and also if you had any update for the county on plans to get money from state aviation or apply to state aviation for funds to help with the Fire Airport. So if you could give any update, if you have any on those two during your docket, I appreciate it. Since our last meeting, I have attended an ECOG meeting in the Enchanted Circle of Council of Governments. They're going to be ratifying in the Taos Public as part of the Enchanted Circle of Governments. And mostly, we talked about what happened in Red River, and they're going to be holding a tabletop exercise to kind of understand everything that happened with that. And as we hear more, this is going to be the Taos County leading this. And as we hear more, I'll pass the information along to our sheriffs and county managers and fellow commissioners. Keep you all open. We're still waiting on the congressional directed spending. I just wanted to bring this point up just because some of the money, I believe it was $730,000 that I requested. It is now in the Senate Appropriations Committee, but it is for a road administration building. So hopefully that could help with some funding if we are awarded any kind of money. I've met with the city of Raton on some broadband issues, and they've attended some conferences in Albuquerque, and they're going to be actually the same information is going to be provided to the counties at the New Mexico County's annual conference in San Juan County, which I plan to be attending. One of the big things that they put out was Baca Valley had actually received $74 million, and they're the largest contributor or to receive funds to help push broadband. And how they're going to be using the broadband is through the GIS system. So hopefully we can learn more. And after the Mexico County's conference, I was going to request a meeting between the city of Raton, the assessor, the sheriff, and a few others, just to talk about the GIS system and how we could help implement that. I'm also going to be meeting with the Ports to Plains, with the Raton City Commissioner, Lori Chatterley, thank you. I've also been in discussion with the sheriff, and he provided an animal ordinance. I've read it through. I gave it to the county manager to follow up on, and after that, I asked them to please send it to our fellow commissioners and maybe put it on a future agenda. And also just to let my fellow commissioners know, I'm making my way through our personnel policy, and there's a few little small corrections I'd like to make. This is little things, no real big change in policy, but I'll probably be bringing that in front of you guys in future commission meetings. And the last thing I have is on Thursday, I asked County Manager Gore to accompany me to KRTN and go on this, that, and the other, just to kind of give a brief update on what's going on with the county. For me, I know for Raton, it's the best way to reach out to my constituents is through KRTN, and I just kind of like to give them an update. So that's all for my docket. Moving on to number 29, manager's docket.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to let the commission know that we did have a meeting at the airport with the advisory committee on May 25th. And I actually overall felt that was a pretty positive meeting. We did have a report given to us at that time by the airport manager. And Chairman Trujillo and Vice Chair Kern, you weren't here, but we have been working to address issues from an April 24th, 2022 5010 audit. And once again, there were some very significant issues in that audit. Just touching on, there were actually 16 major issues that needed to be repaired. And then there was a ending paragraph where it talked about the lighting system. Much better than my previous visit in 2019. There's a couple of areas on the side of the runway approach that exceed the FFA's minimum standard of 1.5 inches. We also had issues with trees. I did send both of you pictures of some of the trees. I know I've sent Commissioner Weir, commissioners, pictures of the trees that were right next to the runway, and that was a major issue. The trees were probably about a quarter of a mile long and brush, and as you can see, they were pretty high. So that had been an ongoing issue for years, and we were able to remove all of those. The airport beacon is currently not in operation. That's item 8. There were 17 inoperative runway lights that have been corrected. As I indicated, most of the fixtures do not illuminate at any time in my visits in 2016 and 19. All those have been corrected. The PASI for runway 17 was in operation at the time. However, sometime last week, however, it appears to have trouble. So once again, I am very proud to report today that all these items, with the exception of a few, have been corrected. The 17 landing lights that were out were all operational at this time. The only thing that we need to work on now, and it's currently being addressed by Bixby Electric, is we're working on rotating windsock, rotating beacon, which is being addressed right now. And then one of the issues that came up was prairie dogs. So we will be working, I think, on those 3 issues to get that squared away. And I do think that that's just in time getting into the RFP with the airport. After the meeting on Thursday, we also had we did review, and we did get one response, and we reviewed that on the RFP. So with that, I think that's very good news, but I can't comment further on that at this time. We're giving an update to the board for the next meetings. So I think we are making significant progress at the airport. In the meeting today, I just wanted to thank the board. I think the board exercised decisiveness in resolution 2023-17 and 18. Once again, we did some out of the box thinking on that. As many are aware, my background is former law enforcement, former corrections, and right now those 2 departments within any city or county or state are having challenges with hiring and retention. And I think not kicking the can further down the road, being decisive and addressing those and continue to move forward on those in a positive way is good, and it will benefit every county employee, everyone. So I appreciate the leadership there. I also want to just thank the board. It goes beyond saying, but we really did and do need to work with Road and Bridge for facilities. And so I That's one of the best assignments I was just given by this commission today, and I'll work with Glenn to start working forward on getting those new facilities. And I will take some of the recommendations by Vice Chair Kern as far as some of the fire buildings and stuff like that. We can do that. I also think that the land exchange of Eagle Nest, I know that that building and Eagle Nest has become a source of contention and some of the trash issues there. So basically, by removing that and moving the county out from that location is once again, I think, a win-win for the village of Eagle Nest. I really appreciate what you're doing with that. I think it's desperately needed in that location. So once again, that's one thing I'm going forward to move on. As far as Mr. Chairman's request on cuts, I have not had an opportunity at this time to look into that. Wish you would contact him, but I will make that a priority for today. And as far as the state or the, I just signed off on an aviation. That was for the apron. That was part of the discussion at the May 25th. So we are moving forward on that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Just one question. I know Jonah mentioned she'd like to set a date to have a budget hearing. If at all possible, can we do that now?
I'm okay with that. One thing I would like to do, if we're going to have a meeting before the 27th, and we are going to, and it's ready to move forward, I would like to include on that the RFP for the airport, just because that is a time-sensitive issue. That grant is a competitive grant. It has a limited amount of funds, and the faster that we get our grant application in, the more likely we are to actually receive the grant. So if we're going to do I don't know what the status of that RFP is, but I would like to see the commission address that RFP as quickly as possible.
I don't see any issues with that. Virginia, are you okay with that? Mr. Trent? What date were you looking at, Jonah? Do you have in mind?
I'm open anytime, whatever the commission would like
So we're looking
to
through
set up.
the week of the 19th through the 23rd.
Well, now that several individuals will be gone for the conference, so
That's the
No, that's the
following
week
week.
before.
that's the week before. That's fine.
What about the 20th?
That's
Because
fine.
next week is the conference.
Correct.
Okay.
Call to the system.
The 20th, the 19th, or the 20th is fine.
Thank you.
We'll just
Yeah,
move the
I would
commission
be
meeting.
available on the 19th, so I would on the 20th.
Would you have any issue with rescheduling the commission meeting? Yes, that we have. You can add that stuff on to there.
As long as that's not going to impact us in business. We could move the meeting from the 27th to the 20th. That'd be fine.
County manager, is that,
I believe that'll be fine.
that would affect the county in any way?
I don't think we'll have any negative implications on the county.
I don't have any issues with it. I don't know about
Virginia might be,
RCPO.
yeah.
The one thing I don't want to do, Mr. Chairman, is if we're not going to be ready for the RFP on the 20th, the airport RFP, I don't want to put it off a whole another 3 weeks.
We can't. Can't put it on.
So it'll be on the 20th.
We're gonna make it on the 20th. We'll
The
do that.
RFP will be fine on the 20th. We have several
Okay.
contracts that we're still working on. To get it done by the end of the month. I don't know. All those done by the 20th.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to just have a meeting on the 20th and not the 27th, just because we have so many contracts that are set to expire.
Well, look, I'm okay with doing both. I know maybe we need to move the 27th date as well. Let's do the 20th and are you just, Commissioner Kern, are you not available on the 27th with the
Correct.
28th? Would you be available?
The 28th would be fine.
So maybe we move the 27th to the 28th. That's a Wednesday. I don't know how that impacts your work week. And then we do a meeting on the 20th. I mean, I'm fine with doing 2 meetings. I don't want to impact
That's fine. So
county business.
Commissioner Kern is okay with moving the meeting to Wednesday, the 28th.
Yeah, that's fine. I have a funeral on the 27th.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and schedule a special meeting on the 20th. Yes, Ms.
I just can't hear you.
So we'll go ahead
Special
and,
meeting on the 20th.
yes, we'll go ahead and do a special meeting on the 20th. And that's going to be to do the RFP. What else was it?
The budget
workshop.
Workshop and special meeting.
Yes. And then we're gonna move our regular meeting from the 27th to the 28th.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock for the special meeting. Oh, yes, budget hearings. Where's the same? Yeah. So there will be a special meeting for the RFP and the budget workshop, 2 separate things. Thank you all very much. Any more commissioners?
And thank you for coming.
Of course, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, okay.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kern? Yes. Commissioner Rea?
Yes.
Chairman Trent?
Yes, thank you all for coming.